Hola, soy Dora. Just kidding. I watch TikTok a lot. There's a character that plays Dora very often, and it makes me laugh and laugh. And just now, I got a little tickle, and I thought I'd share that with you. Let's go on an adventure. Today is January 20th, and it's inauguration for the USA President and Vice President. So, congrats. Live well and prosper. Do well. Keep exploring. Today also is the 5E Newell of the Mayan calendar, which says that we're out for discovery. Which means if you woke up today and you're presently breathing, batting your eyes and doing whatever it is with your internal systems, hopefully we're alive and together, and you will discover something as long as you give yourself the opportunity to be the explorer. So I thought that Dora the Explorer was a perfect way of opening up this session in our part 2 series, 2 of 3 for our renew, start anew, be anew, or regenerate, which was, well, once was. Okay, so let's do a little yoga, right? Let your hands come together. The Mayan calendar also gives this day the number 5, and the 5 is suggested to be the hand of the explorer. So a typical hand would be with 5 digits, right? Not all hands and not all functioning requires 5 fingers, but in the hand, as we tend to know it, it's counted out as 5 each. And 5 is the hand that grasps, right? So it is to hold on to the tool that excavates into the land of the unknown, right? The hard rock of self-discovery, right? We chip away at it slowly. And regardless of what's underneath, because oftentimes we don't know what's under there, right? It requires a little hard work first to get there, and then to really explore what's underneath. So as we explore, right, there will be some hard work, right? There'll be perhaps some challenge, some difficulty, whether you repeat this or you do this one time and just find, right, there's some spaces in there that give you resistance but also reveal, right? So whatever it is that's going to be there, it'll be discovery, right? So that is there for you, for your journey, for our journey together today. Take a gentle bow to your heart, right? A nice little exhale to soften into what's to come. And let's do this. Okay. Whew, I have a little music. I'll play a little. You can play along on your own, and we'll hear this, right? I won't make it too loud. So I'm going to carry on from and kind of continue with what we did last time, right? So we did the warrior practice in part 1. So we're going to extend our warrior flow, right? And today we're going to add twists. Twists help us get a little smaller. You could think of it as ringing out or pushing into your deepest center. You could call that your desires. You could call it your renewal. You could also call it a cleanse. Okay. So as we started last practice, right, we started standing and we had a wide straddle, right? As we remember, right, the warrior call is parallel feet, toes pointing forward, heels maybe a little bit wider. So you start to notice if you were to lean forward into your toes and then back towards your heels, let's just say you're going forward and back, right? From the side, it looks like this, right? You just really sort of teeter-tottering, right, seesaw, if you will, through the length of your foot, right? So you start to notice, right, when you go into the front of your foot and you push, the front of your body ignites, right? Same with the back. When you go back into the heels, the back body fires up, right? Glutes, hamstrings back, right? So you just kind of get a little sense of doing that and then find a happy in between, somewhere in the middle. And as you may notice in yourself when you watch and you see, you can confirm this with others, Our neutral position tends to have our hips in front of our heels, right? So whether your feet are wide or narrow, that is like sort of a place that we go. Very infrequently would we have our hips way back unless you have a major swoop in your low back. Right, so we still want to do, even when your feet are naturally underneath you, is find an even place where you feel that you're kind of not overly pronounced into the heels or into the toes, right? So those. Okay, so our first pose was turn on the right heel towards the right foot and bend the right knee. Okay, we'll take the arms up. So here's warrior one. We know warrior one. And we know warrior two. So we're in a warm-up stage right now, so we're just gonna let that happen 3 times. We go back to warrior one, and then we go to warrior two. You inhale, let's say, to warrior one. You exhale to warrior two. Okay, so we're gonna take a reverse warrior on this one to notice a little bit of what this is. So in the shape, your left hand is back down, holding your left leg, kind of pressing up from the left leg. And your right arm is reaching back behind you. There's a bit of a twist here going on, right? So you can notice that your right ribs is reaching over towards your left hip, and you're just stretching away from the knee. Okay? Follow that right arm forward. Right elbow to the top of the right thigh, and left arm's reaching. Top arm, right? This is a side angle pose, so you feel there's this journey from that back heel, and it's all about how much you engage with this, right? Feel that back heel, hold the floor. Include the toes of that foot, right? So all the way forward to the toes, and you can feel that the more you're connected to the ground you are here, the more you can explore what's above. All right, here's our real twist. Keep the legs just like they are. I'm going to fingertips on my left hand, so not entirely flat. That tends to kind of jam a little bit, too much pressure into the neck. And then gently lift the right arm up to the sky. And you have our first very sort of specific and very overt twist. Okay, we're still doing the sequence that we know. So when you bring your right hand down, you lift your left heel, you're in lunge, and then you lean into that right foot to go to your warrior three. Okay, you're gonna step that back and then come back through your middle. Here's your wide straddle, forward bow. So this is our first forward bow, right? So be kind to yourself on this day for this, right? And so my hope is by 3 of 3 of this beginner series, the third one is a combination of all 3. So you'll, perhaps if you go to revisit these videos, you would just do number 3, and that would be your full practice. Okay, take your inhale all the way up. We're gonna turn towards the left foot, turning on the heel, bending the knee, and take the arms up to the sky. Warrior one, that's an inhale, and then exhale, warrior two. Okay, inhale, warrior one, exhale, warrior two. And then again, inhale, warrior one, exhale, warrior two. This is where we take this into our reverse warrior. Right hand to the back, right leg, left arm's reaching. Nice inhales and exhales. So we typically take 3 breaths when we're going into a mindful practice, right? We're not going into a fast vinyasa, right? So we can take 3 breaths in each shape, right? Big inhales and big exhales. Now there's about 3 there. Our breaths are all different too, so your breath length might be longer or shorter than mine. Left elbow, top of the left knee, spacious in your neck. It's side angle pose, right arm reaching. 3 breaths here, just kind of noticing that every breath is calibrating, adjusting, exploring, and by now, probably already discovering. Okay, this exhale, legs stay the same, right hand comes down. Fingertips, right? No wrist on the floor. If you have a block, that's kind of nice too. Left arm goes up to the sky. Lift the chin and just let your eyes gently look towards the hand. You don't have to have your face facing the hand, but just kind of looking up to get that general destination gaze opening. Okay, left hand comes down. Now you're in lunge. Okay, you're shifting that weight into the left foot, up to your warrior three. There you are, so the heel is lifting. It's about hip height. Okay, step it back, come around that shoulder. Here we are for our wide straddle, parallel feet, and a forward bow. Already noticing that space is achieved. Space. There's some room to breathe, maybe a little bit longer here, and noticing that your hamstrings are paying attention to also what it is that you're doing, so they have to sort of get excited also. So you breathe a little deeper and you bring more oxygenated blood out through your system. Inhale all the way up. Yep, we're gonna go warrior one to the right knee. And take your exhale to warrior two. Okay, so this one's just gonna be a one set here. Right palm turns up, reverse warrior. And then come forward, elbow to knee, side angle pose. 3 breaths right here. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Here's our twist. So you follow the exhale, which is pretty nice. Fingertips, left hand to the floor. Inhaling, right arm up to the sky. And kind of let the breath also give you information into these shapes. There's a little change on this one. Right hand down. It's a lunge. We're going to warrior three. And then you're going to come to stand. So your left foot meets your right. Your arms go up to the sky. And then you're going to fold over straight legs. So now we have legs directly underneath you, and you're in a typical forward bow, right? Little Uttanasana, we call it. I'm not throwing up too many Sanskrit words, but right, that's what this is, and sometimes your teachers do that, and that's okay. Oftentimes we just have to look around and recognize that's what's being done. It's also in the instruction too. Come up to a flat back here. So you're halfway. Flat back is like having sort of something that requires to be very balanced on your back. Maybe it's something that you wish not to tip over, like a glass of water, right? So imagine what you'd have to do in order to equalize that, right? Nice open chest and heart, and then again, we'll forward bow. Right here in this forward bow, when you bend your knees, your fingertips can touch, so you can shift to step your left foot back, turn the heel over, and then you're gently just gonna push over to your wide straddle so you can forward bow again. This inhale will come all the way up. Okay, left side, turn towards your left foot. Warrior one. Big inhale here, and your exhale, warrior two. Okay, left palm turns up, so your reverse warrior is here. Pretty sweet. Now follow left elbow, left knee. So this is where we're really gonna emphasize the 3 breath count, right? So if you notice that I'm kind of one counted through those last 3 poses, right? Warrior one, warrior two, and reverse warrior. And this one holds a little bit more of the prominent discovery ground, right? This is the explorer pose and side angle pose. So you want to be able to enjoy your breath right here and feel this is really getting you longer and more spacious. Right hand comes to the floor, fingertips. Left arm is the inhale up to the sky. Yay. That one also gets a good 3 breath count here. Left hand comes down in the exhale. You go to lunge. You inhale to your warrior three with whatever modifications you have in your arms. And even if we're sort of lacking amount of like room to reach, you could have your hands at your hips. So that also works. Right foot, when it comes to the floor on your next inhale, arms up to the sky. And then forward bow. Right, so there is set 2 with all its familiarity, right? So we've got our twists in it, we've got our warriors. We're gonna take it a little bit further on the last set, right? Last set of our standing poses. Inhale to a flat back again. Recognize you can also exhale right here. Nice flat back. Shoulders are are generally the height of your hips. You're challenging yourself to lean out into the toes, and you don't need to lock the knees, right? This next exhale, you forward bow, you touch the floor with your fingers, and right foot steps back. Okay? You're gonna go back to that parallel feet and wide straddle fold. Head drops. Okay, so we're gonna add a little twist in this wide straddle here. So you're gonna keep your feet wide and come up to a flat back. That's pretty nice. Picture that you could see your face on the floor, just like a little reflection, and your left hand could be there. And then your next inhale, take the right arm up to the sky. Okay, and I'm actually gonna go a little bit further, right, to just kind of show you the example. I'll turn around on the second side, is that you want your hips to be balanced, right? So when you open that right arm, it seems like a lot of weight is gonna shift to the right side of the ribs, so you just have to remind yourself to stay even in the feet, and you can drop your right arm across the low back. So I have my right hand is at my left thigh, right? My elbow is tall, and you'll see it from the back when I do the second side. Okay, next inhale, right arm up to exhale it down, and then you fold. Okay, inhale to a flat back. I'm going to show this from the side so you get an idea of what that looks like now. Okay, here actually I'll show you from the back so you notice that the hips don't sway, right? So again, inhale to a flat back, right hand would be where your flexion on the floor would be, and your left arm goes up to the sky, right? And if you notice, right, if you allow everything just to sway towards that energy, your right hip will drop and your left hip will be high, right? So you just have to manage, put your hand there at the sort of small of your back or your waistline to balance the hips. There's a lot of strength in the upper back, and then again, you turn your wrist, you drop your forearm across the low back, and your left hand might even kind of wiggle fingers into the crease of that right leg where it meets your body. Okay? And remembering not to cramp the neck or to squeeze the shoulders, right? Next inhale, left arm up. You exhale that hand down, and you're in your forward bow. Sweet. Okay, let me get back to where we expect it, and we'll do set 3 of our progression. On your inhale, all the way up. On your exhale, turn to the right foot, warrior 1. Right, there's a nice big inhale here. This exhale is warrior 2. You open up the front of the pelvis, right? But the legs are generally the same. You just get a little bit more of that feeling of separation between your inner thighs, right, or knees, okay? Right palm turns up, reverse warrior, and then follow. Here's an option. We've been doing the side angle up high, okay? Right elbows at the right knee. There is an option also. You could go a little bit further and let your fingertips touch the floor just inside your right ankle. So it just takes your side angle pose just a little lower, and it's not necessary if you don't want it. Okay, so we also have been taking our twist with the left hand on the floor and the right arm up, okay? So this is like a twisted warrior lunge. We could take this further, lift the left heel so you have a regular lunge in the feet and legs, but you could take this left elbow and hook it to the right or the outside of your right knee. Okay, so what that looks like, if you're wondering, right, your knee stays above your heel, your elbow's outside of the knee, and I like to do this with a little open heart, right arm reach up to the sky. So it's not entirely too off the off the scale or the map of what we've been doing. It's just a little bit deeper squeeze in the center, and you could always just do the one we did previous, and you don't even have to worry about this, right? Here we go. Undo the twist, step into warrior 3, and then come up to stand. Challenge here, right? Either sit into a chair pose, so imagine a little Wonder Woman action, little Mysteria of a chair behind you. You're just strong through the thighs, Knees are pulling back. This is doing good muscle work for the stability of your joints. 3 breaths in chair pose. And then on that third exhale, you gently just straighten the legs and drop the head to a forward bow. Okie dokie. Inhale, here's your flat back. On your exhale, hands touch. Left foot steps back. And you slide over to your wide straddle forward bow. Okay, left side. On this inhale, all the way up, arms reach up. On your exhale, pivot on the heel, left, warrior 1. And then your inhale, warrior 1. Your exhale goes warrior 2. Left palm turns up. This is an inhale to reverse warrior. And follow the next exhale, elbow to knee, side angle pose. Again, this is 3 breaths right here, and you could choose to start this with the modified tall, and maybe it's just the last breath. The third breath is you reach a little further towards the floor. Right? You don't even have to land on the floor. You could be quite upright, just kind of noticing that a lot of this is just trunk control. You're not requiring that left arm to catch you here. Okay, this exhale, right hand down. So if you're choosing this twist to be as we've been doing, right? So it's a warrior legs, back heel is down, left arm up, or left heel, right heel up, twisting that way. If you're going further, like the last time, right? Elbow hooks outside of the left knee, and left arm would be up to the sky. Okay? On the exhale, whoo! Release the arms, take the inhale up, warrior 3, and then let that come to stand. Feet to the floor, arms to the sky, you can look up, tuck the tailbone down so you get lots of space in the front. Sit on the exhale, chair pose, and you have 3 breaths here. Okay, your modification for shoulders and arms, depending on your day or shoulders, you could have arms up to the sky or arms open like a T or an airplane you might call it. Some people even just keep their hands at their hips. Okay, and the hands at the hips would be a nice reminder to push the hips back, to look lightly, gently forward. You don't have to see the sky, right? That could put a lot of pressure in your neck muscles, right? Third exhale, forward bow. Woo! Yay! Inhale, here's your flat back. On your exhale, hands touch. Right foot steps back, lunge, and then pushing from that left foot over to your center. Looking good, right? Drop, forward bow. Here we go. Okay, inhale to a flat back. This is going to take us to the floor now. So we're going to take our standing poses that we've done all of our warriors, all 3 of them, including the 4th, which is goddess variation, the reverse warrior, and now we just bring it to the floor. So I am going to take my hands flat to the floor, and some people like to hop their feet together, or you could just step your feet together, right? So I'm in a bit of a forward bow, right? Then I'm going to go to tiptoes, so lift your heels, lean into your arms, and that just slowly brings you to your knees. Standing on your knees, okay? This is going to be our floor series, so we're going to work from this point. So we're going to call this kind of halfway. This is our medium range, right? I'll show you from the side. We're just standing on the knees as we would stand on our feet, right? Knees, hips, shoulders, okay? Take your right arm up to the sky. Left hand is at your left hip, and you're gently going to reach over to your left. So very similar to our reverse warrior, little side bend. Okay, inhale, that right arm brings you up, right hand to your right hip, left arm to the sky, and then you take that exhale, just reach a little bit further over to your right. So it's pretty massive, and actually our mid-range thoracic spine has a really nice side bend in it, and our insides really appreciate being able to do this. Okay, whoo, and then come back up. A little bit further, I'm just going to change my direction so you know what this means. It would be switching to the other side, so right arm up, Before we had left hand to left hip, which is fine. We're going to start that way. You're reaching over to your left. And then if you can see the floor, or even your left thigh, take your left hand closer to your knee, so down closer towards the floor. And then if you could move it slightly behind you to your calf. And if that's too far away, stay at your hip and just go a little behind the hip. So when you reach over to your left, you're going to lean a little more back. And that's just a little bit. Squeeze your butt to tuck the tailbone down, push your feet to the floor, bring you up through the center. Okay, second side, left arm up. I'll do this from the back, so maybe that makes more sense, right? So as a reminder, right, our first version was straight over to the right, hand at hip. Okay, that next stage would be hand behind the hip, and you lean a little farther back. If you'd like, that hand could go down towards the outside of the knee or even the calf, and you're leaning slightly back behind you, look towards your fingers, right? Feet press into the floor, and hey, you're all the way up. Happy? Okay, third version, each side. Right arm up, left hand is either at hip or side of the leg. Okay, left hand is gonna go to the calf as you reach over, or behind your butt or hip. And if you look back, you might even be able to get your left hand farther back towards the heel, and that you can sweep even farther back. Remember, use your strong glutes to keep the tailbone tucked, the low back is clear, and this is a nice upper back action, right? The feet push into the floor so your breath brings you up, and you don't have to pinch any of the muscles in your back while doing this, right? So oftentimes people really struggle, and you might hear that sound like, ugh, which means you're really muscling it up to come up to your upright position. So think of kind of kicking your foot, top of the foot, down the floor. You're really pushing it down, and that's gonna press you forward. Your breath will also give you the space to come up, right? So that ugh sound also tends to suggest that you're not breathing. And I'm guilty of it too. I sometimes do that, right? So it's a little exasperated, but we try not to do that, right? Left arm up, over to your right, look back, either hand behind the hip or hand to the calf, chin lifts, the neck is long, and if you're going to the heel, go heel and then go for it, right? You're gonna feel a strong upper back, pushing your rib cage, chest up to the sky. Chin has a lift so you're not straining your neck, and eyes are smiling as well as your face and your lips and your teeth. Yay. Feet pressed down, your inhale brings you up, and that was 3 bridge camel back bends from standing on your knees. And so it's not a terrible place to start as far as back bends go. We'll come to the floor. Okay, so I very much love twists, and I love hip openers. Hip openers people can be very aggressive with, so I'm gonna start from a very easy version. So last week I believe that last practice we did a little seat with the heels as wide as your hips, and you bent your knees and they fell over to the left. This is great because now you can take a little moment to just kind of notice that your right sit bone is probably not as heavy to the floor as your left sit bone, and that's okay too. You're looking at your left shin, and your shin in so many ways is parallel to your pelvis or your waistband, and that's an approximation. You're gonna lean into that left leg, right? So I'm not just going over to the knee and putting everything sensationally down into the left hip. It's a different exercise, right? This is going to be a modified pigeon pose. So this might be enough for you as far as your knees go, or as far as your hips or your low back, totally fine. If you notice that your toes are lifting on that left foot, you can lean your weight into your left foot, and if you really, really want to, then you can stretch your right leg back behind you and tuck the toes, okay? Some people stay lean over into that left hip, and this is more of a sort of a snaky little sort of side bend of your spine. I don't recommend that here. I imagine that it would be better to just kind of stay even through your hips, long through your spine, and you can bend the elbows or not, okay? So even though that's a lot of information, well, you'll see it on the second side. So you go back to your left hip, you come back to the legs, if you're not already there, and we slide right back into our bent knee sit. Knees go to the right. Okay? I'm going to show this a little bit more from the side so you get the idea of what I'm doing. You don't have to change your position. All right, so again, our cue is right knee, left ankle. That's your shin bones, right? There are two bones there, and that's parallel to your hips or even to the edge of your mat. Okay? You can lean forward into that knee and even slide your breath towards your heel more than the knee, because the knee is always going to be sort of that funny angle that's going to can be a little sort of treacherous with sort of working around this hip opener. And then just like last time, if you can get that left leg back behind you, tuck the toes under, your hips will come up. That's great, right? So here's pigeon pose. The hips are as square as you can get them. Your hips might be incredibly sore, and that's okay. They could be tight, or they might be many other things, limited. And if that's the case, right, then you stay with that left knee at that right heel, and you just allow this to be really a generous discovery. Okay? As you come up, that was 3 breaths. You're back through the middle. Yay. Let's go to the left again. Same idea. We're going to add one tiny little sort of sneaky bit to this, which is going to bring our twist in. So you'll go into your bow to your left knee. If you're choosing, right leg back behind you. So there's your pigeon pose again. So this should be a little bit easier than the first time you did it, hopefully. And don't worry, give it time, it'll show up for you. We're not pressing towards any destination. We'll get there eventually. When you come back up, this is the cute little quirky part. Instead of bringing your right knee back to your left heel, pick it up, place the foot to the left of your left thigh. Right? So it's just over there behind me. It looks like this. This is a very common yoga twist when seated. And now I'm going to take an exhale to my right. You can hold the knee with your hand and just open your chest over to your right. Maybe even glance slightly over your right shoulder. Okay? So I showed that a little bit. I moved off my mat. You could also, if you've got a little bit more room, as that right hip presses down towards the floor, right? So sit on that right butt and breathe up through the right chest. So this could be more than 3 breaths. Each one is more sensational than the other, and you don't have to force much of this, right? Maybe allow yourself the permission to relax. This is pretty great. This also unlocks a lot of energy, gets stored up in the body. Okay, on your inhale, you come out of that twist, and let's just return the right knee to your left heel as we started, and then we come back to your sit bones. Last time, to the right. Here you go. Here's that modified pigeon. Lean towards your right shin. Right? Your choice, yogi's choice. Do you want that left leg back or not? You don't have to be low in the chest. You don't have to go low in the shoulders. You can be very supported with your arms. Really just feeling. The breath is going to show you a really great discovery of the self. And yours might be different today than yesterday. It might be similar, and you're revisiting and you're constantly appreciating it because it's evolving, right? So we come back to our little bent knees, and then again, step that left foot now to the right of your right knee. If you feel like you want that right foot to come a little closer to your left hip, you could do that too. So that just kind of makes your little footprint of your practice a little bit smaller, a little bit more concentrated, right? You could even inhale here so that you can exhale that turn over your left shoulder. So I'm not going to move my seat on this one, and you have this nice opportunity. Yes, right here, there's something about the low back where my crackheads just love to really kind of hold their breath and strain and push and try to hear those snap, crackle, pops, so those adjustments that are kind of flashy and dashy. Try to just allow, right? So it might show up if you need it, but it'll happen naturally if it's necessary. So if it's not, then we don't want to force it. You'll notice your waistline is kind of getting a little bit smaller, which I mean above the pelvis into sort of the softer part of the midsection, right? So it's below the ribs. If you keep that a little bit more sort of tucked in, then it sort of puffs up and gets a little bit more sort of shoulder presentation, a little chesty, okay? You inhale to come out of that. You unhook that left foot to return the knee so that we can come back to the center. Last week, last practice, we did some Baddha Konasana, right? The butterfly legs. I do like this, and this is always a great choice. And remember, this is always your choice. So however you're gonna follow this practice or anyone else's along, right? Choose appropriately. But I'm also gonna add to this just a little bit version of like how we were standing. So a wide straddle, forward bow. I first reach out over my toes. Let your heart sink down. Keep your shoulders lifted. Try not to lead too much with your chin and face, even though it's inevitable. Then you can soften the arms, right? You could bring your elbows towards the floor, or you could hold your shins. And if you're really feeling wily or spacious, you could take the arms and reach them forward. Right? And so in so many ways, you're staying very alert in your muscles, meaning that you're engaged, but you're not straining, and you bring that breath in. So it's gonna keep it nice and smooth. All right, on your inhale, we come back up. However you started your practice, if you were in a seated posture, or if you were lying on the floor, this is Shavasana time, which means we take a divine nap, right? It's also, when we take this in the version where we're lying on the floor face up, the corpse pose, as it's described, is a pose of introspection, but also of reflection. So of all the great things, the journeys of time past, which brought you to this potent time in the present. So you can do that in any way you wish. We'll close the eyes. I know it's a lot of information, but you just allow the information to wash over you, right? It's like you're being served the journey, and like a carnival ride, right? Your eyes, your gaze open just enough to take in what's there for you, a little bit or a lot. Right? You have so much in this journey of life, this day that's here for you, right? The discovery is inevitable. Without direction, it still doesn't matter. You can aimlessly enjoy the opportunity to explore. You use the parts of your body that are there for you naturally to seek to touch, to interact, perhaps to work. And the outcome, right? Just enjoy. See what that is. Maybe, perhaps, a better, longer, more potent, fortifying breath that gives you all the space, the lightness to enjoy your smile. And allow your hands to now come to your heart, whether you're lying on the floor or at your seat, right? Speak, think, smile into namaste to your heart, to all. Appreciation for your presence. Thanks for coming. All right, so next session will be 3 of 3, and we'll examine the entire picture, right? So we'll add a little bit that could be the challenge, but also there'll be room to take it or leave it, or to expand or multiply, right? So good to see you. Happy this day. Happy inauguration. Dora the Explorer out. Adios. Hasta luego.